Buenos dias, señoras y señores, and welcome to another edition of the Soccer Sanchez podcast. As always, I'm your host, Brian Soccer Sanchez, and with me, regular guest and Chelsea fan, D-Lord the Don. And to this side of me, no, that side of me, is our co-host, regular. He's got 99 problems, but a Premier League survival isn't one of them. It's Brentford fan, Stewie Sanchez. How are you, Stuart?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How are you doing?
Not doing bad. And D-Lord, how are you after an unfortunate defeat for Chelsea at the weekend?
I'm actually all right. You know, I'm okay because I know I can see the future, man. I mean, I'm all right, man.
Fair enough. The future's bright. Okay, cool.
The future's bright.
Regular listeners and viewers to the show will know that the last time we were here, we did a Premier League preview. That was 10 days ago. Since then, we've had 2 weekends of Premier League football. Of course, one of the videos we did in the past was the Messi rumours about him leaving Barcelona. Of course, he's staying. We didn't think there would be a bigger transfer to come up during the pre-season break, during the transfer window. But lo and behold, Gareth Bale finally leaves Real Madrid after a couple of years really of not going so well for him. Fall out of favour with Zidane. Last summer, he was actually on the books to leave Real Madrid. It was on the brink of signing for the Chinese Super League club. Reported £1 million a week was the fee he was going to get salary-wise. He's back in the Premier League. Spurs fans, like myself included, delighted to see him. He was a big reason why Spurs' profile lifted in the past, decade, basically. As I mentioned before, Martin Jol was the start of that. Van der Vaart coming and Gareth Bale playing in that team, along with Modric, lifted Spurs' status. And since then, they've kicked on. And as we all know, they made the Champions League final last year. So Bale coming to Spurs is a massive coup for not only the club, but Mourinho as well. Following Spurs' disappointing performance against Everton in the first weekend of the season, it's going to be a massive job for Mourinho, as well as Bale, to prove himself again in the Premier League. Personally speaking, I think Bale was a fantastic player. Whenever I have seen him in the last 18 months, given he hasn't played much football, but when he has played, he's been very, very good. You can still see he has got a lot to offer, whatever team he plays for. And luckily for me, he plays for Tottenham. Start with you, Stuart. How do you feel about Bale's return to the Premier League?
Yeah, I mean, I'm delighted to see him back in the Premier League because, I mean, we always want to see the best players playing in the teams in the Premier League. So I think he still has that world-class touch to him. I'm just really curious to see how quick he is. Has he still got that pace that he had when he left? He's been out of action for the last, let's say, year or 2 years. Busy perhaps playing golf too much, enjoying doing that. So we'll see how that's affected his quality. But I'm really excited to see him play for Tottenham. And I think especially right now, it'll be interesting to see how he fits into this team and see where exactly Mourinho plays him, because I noticed against Southampton. I mean, Southampton made it quite easy for Spurs, but I mean they were able to use their pace behind the defence so easily, with Son Min, running onto balls past through the midfield at ease. So I think that would suit Bale's game perfectly. So I'm wondering to see. I'm really curious to see how defenders are going to line up against Spurs and really take into account that real pace they'll have up front with Son Min and Gareth Bale complementing Kane's abilities. So yeah, I'm really delighted to have them back in the Premier League, and we'll see if the years have taken a toll on him. I mean, how old is he now? 30, 29?
31.
31. So yeah, I mean, pace is always one of his qualities. So we'll see how that's affected him. But I still think he'll add that touch of class to Spurs. And yeah, I think Spurs this will be a vital addition to their team, and it'll allow them to challenge for those top 4 positions again this season.
I agree. I mean, he's a great player. He's going to definitely lift the fortunes. Well, not the fortunes, the spirit of the club. At least the first week wasn't too great, and obviously, Spurs will get a lot of criticism for the fact that how they played against Everton. Against Southampton was brilliant. I personally don't think pace is going to be much of an issue. D-Lord, do you think that's something that Spurs should be worried about? Obviously, alongside the fact that he is regularly injured. Let's be honest. Do you think that's going to be a problem going forward?
No, absolutely none. The only thing that they need to worry about is keeping him fit, and that's it. And I think it's Mourinho will probably use them, wisely. Let's not forget that Spurs still have players like Bergwijn and
Lucas Lamella.
Lucas Moura, Lamella. So these are guys. So Bell's not going to be playing every game, but whenever he does play, I don't see pace as being an issue. I think he's still got. We look at people like Iron Robin. Iron Robin still had his pace even up till um 35, whatever. He still had that pace. These players. We need to remember that these are not the time. These are not the 90s, and like players right now, the game has changed. A lot of people these players take care of themselves. There's a lot of sports science involved. So players can actually play up till 40 if they really wanted. But obviously, most teams aren't really gonna give people long contracts for that. But I'm just saying, you look at people like Cristiano Ronaldo, they're like 35, you can still see them playing for a couple more years. And Bale's what, only 31? We might see that as old, but in fairness, that's still pretty young. It's still not as young as the youngest players, obviously, but it's still young. He still can put a shift in for Spurs. I think they can get a good if he stays fit and injury free. I think they can get good years out of him. And plus you have to remember that players, the older they get, the smarter they get. So he would know his body. He would know that he's not. He won't be running, from defense, to he'll be timing his runs, and players like that who can think properly, and then he's also got like a great shot. He's had that before he even left.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
All he probably would just be focusing is finding space and just letting it go. And if he needs to run, he will do that. So I don't see pace as being an issue for Gareth Bale. I think it's a wonderful sign. I always knew he was going to come back to Spurs for some reason. I always knew because how he was being treated in Madrid was ridiculous. Yeah, I always knew he was going to come back from Spurs, and Spurs fans, they should really be happy. I mean, they are happy.
Yes. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's funny that you said that you was going to be back at Spurs, because I think deep down a lot of Spurs fans really, 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 really wanted that, but knowing Spurs and Levy, we weren't too sure if that was actually going to happen. And given what his wages were on, like, was it reported 600, 700,000 before tax at Real Madrid, it was going to take a lot of money to, a lot of money or good negotiation to get him out of Madrid. And clearly, Levy's got a lot of good negotiation, because I know we ain't got that much money. So no, it's a great bit of business. But I think the whole issue with his age and what Stuart mentioned there, the pace, I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem. He's a great footballer. So as a creative player, I see no problem with him kind of playing behind the striker, or even taking up that striking role up front, just like Cristiano Ronaldo molded into as he got older as well. I think.
What does that mean for K.I.N.E.T., Brian? If he takes up that striker position, what's going to happen to K.I.N.E.T.? Where is he going to pick?
This is the thing you got to remember as well. K.I.N.E.T. is always injured. Every season, he's injured for at least a month, minimum a month, usually 3 months, but minimum a month. So there's going to be a point where Bale, if Kane's injured, Bale can fill that slot as long as he's not injured as well. So if they can both stay fit, or if one of them if one of them's injured, the other one's fit, then the perfect scenario for Tottenham. But there is this talk about how he's going to play on the wings and things.
He can play up front. He can play up front. If you really look at if Bale's in the team, I can personally see Harry Kane dropping deeper as he's been there. We saw the last match. He more or less was playing as a number 10.
Yeah, he does that quite a bit, to be fair. No one really notices.
Not a lot of people notice, but he can actually play that number 10 role. So you saw him dropping deep because he knows how quick Son is. So he drops deep. Defenders follow him, and then that creates space for Son to burst through the wings or whatever to run off him. I can see him and Gareth Bale doing that. So it's even more problems now for defenders, because now you have to watch out for Bale and Son. So
yeah,
it's this is great firepower that's now been added to Spurs artillery. So
The key is definitely his fitness, but no, I have to agree with Son, Kane, and Bale up front. With all three staying fit, Stuart, where do you think Tottenham can end up this season?
Wow. I don't know.
Can they challenge for the league?
I think it's too early to say. I mean, I think we all kind of think that Man City and Liverpool are going to be the top two this season, but I think there's different teams out there that have added quality in their teams, like Everton, for example.
yeah.
Everton will be just challenging for that top position. We're not just saying that because they won the first two games, but from the first two games, I know we're going to touch upon this in our match review of the weekend. But I just think that they got so much class in that midfield, and I see Adam being pivotal to that as well. He's great at breaking up play, and now that's freed up James to really star in the number 10 role. So I think this season will be more exciting than last season. I think it's going to be.
I'm excited. I'm excited. This is definitely going to be one of the best seasons in Premier League history.
And it's sad that you say that because you've been saying that nearly every show we've done, and there's no fans in the stadium. Like, how fortunate is that? Like, you don't understand how much it killed me that I couldn't be first of all, the game to see James against Tottenham, and then secondly, not to be able to see Bale. Like, that kills me, man.
Just hope it doesn't have a what's the right word? Hope it doesn't have a fit and leaves to Spurs after 1 year.
So that again?
Hopefully, it doesn't have a fit and leaves Spurs after 1 year.
Who, Bale?
Yeah, Bale.
I mean,
I don't think that's.
Let's be honest. I mean, the ties of Real Madrid are cut now.
Yeah,
I mean,
where's he gonna go?
before the whole 24-hour, 48-hour period where he was at the ground, at the training center, and then the period of when he arrived there and when we announced, Real Madrid took him off the website completely. An hour later, they had to put him back on, and now they've given him the number 25. So it's very unlikely we're going to see Real Madrid again. Sorry, Bale in the Madrid top. Yeah, go on.
No, I was going to say, it's such a bad deal of dealing with your players, right? With your stars. I mean, Real Madrid are famous for doing that with, apart from Ronaldo, they've done it with loads of other players, like Anelka, for example. I don't know if you watched the documentary on Netflix. It just shows how they treat their star players.
Robin,
yeah, exactly.
Kaka.
Yeah.
Go on.
Even Ronaldo. People say, like, even Ronaldo. Really,
probably, yeah. I can't say Jack because
do you remember send-off for Ronaldo?
Say that again?
Did he get send-off? Did Ronaldo get a good send-off?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. I think he did. Yeah.
I don't know. Like the way they treat their guys is just horrible. Like Di Maria, they just throw them out the back door.
but you know what? Like, I completely agree with you. But what kind of killing me right now, hearing you talk, is the fact that we did that 2 days ago to Danny Rose. We took him off our website completely, like in the squad. He's still in our squad technically. Took him off. We gave, and we're going to talk about him in a minute. Reguilon. We gave him Danny Rose's number, and then they put Danny Rose's picture back on the website and the squad list with last season's shirt.
With the Danny Rose situation, you could kind of tell there was problems between him and the club. And it's been brewing for a long time. It's just
to be fair, there was problems at the start as well. When he went to Sunderland, when he first got to Tottenham, it was because he wanted to play and he wasn't getting games.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? So he's always had, like, there's always been like something brewing in the back without, the cameras knowing. Like, we've been hearing little things about him, the issues he's been having with the club and back and forth. So that's kind of like different, When we talk about Real Madrid, we're talking like the likes of Kaka. I can't see Kaka falling out of the club. It's just, the Ribery. I said Ribery. Sorry, Robin. What's the other guy? Di Maria. Like those guys, they don't really look like the type to kind of like fall out with a club.
But there's a difference between the way you say that Madrid treated those players and how they treated Bale. Those players that you mentioned didn't win 4 Champions League.
But they took it up a notch with Gareth Bale. Like it was disgusting how they treated him. And I know a lot of people probably won't like this, but I personally don't feel any way of how he treated them back. Because at the end of the day, if you're gonna treat me like this, right, after everything I've done for you, I mean, how many Champions Leagues has he won with them?
4.
4 Champions Leagues.
He won them too.
he won them. You know what I'm saying? He won those, and you treat him like that. I don't blame him.
Yeah.
I don't blame him because they really took the mickey with him.
Yeah.
So yeah, people say, oh yeah, but he's taking the mickey. He's not playing and blah blah. Well, if you don't fancy me, what do you want me to do? You're making the fans turn against me and all sorts of no. I'm staying.
So specifically as well, the last 12 months, because as I mentioned, he was going to leave. He was last second about to go to China, and then I think Florentino Perez stopped the deal. And then the last 12 months with Madrid, I completely understand and I agree with you, D-Lord. Why is he going to give a crap about Madrid if Madrid don't give a crap about him?
I would have done exactly the same thing. I really don't care. I would have done the same thing he did. Yeah. I think he did the right thing.
Yeah. What are you going to say, Stuart?
He was quite vocal with his dismissiveness of Real Madrid. I remember that one game after Wales, after he played for Wales, he had it on his flag. You know, golf. What was it again? Golf.
I can't remember golf and.
Wasn't it Golf Spurs Madrid? No, Golf Spurs, Golf Spurs and Wales, wasn't it? No, Wales Golf Spurs or something.
Something like that. So you can clearly tell you there was real bad blood in that relationship.
Yeah, of course.
But then you have to remember as well. I mean, he's getting paid how much? 600,000 euros, and he's completely just making the club look like a numpties.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you don't want to play him.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You don't want to play him. You clearly told him that he's not part of the plan.
He's not needed.
Yeah, he's not needed. Yeah. But you could just stay on the bench. So you told me that already. So what do you want me to? You clearly don't want me. But you can't get rid of me because I'm on this high wages. Yeah. Okay, cool. After everything I've done for you, winning you Champions Leagues, you're gonna tell me I'm not needed because I don't fit the quote unquote Real Madrid style or whatever. No,
that's completely
my 600K.
That's the hierarchy in the club. It's the fans as well. They're really vicious, aren't they? The fans quickly turn on their players if they say something that's out of step, out of sync with the club, and if they had one bad performance, they really get on top of the players, and it's really hard. It's really harsh, having an off day for Real Madrid because they'll turn on you just like that.
Yeah.
To be fair though, for the Madrid fans, a lot of them do really like Bale and still like Bale, and they kind of understand from Bale's point of view him acting the way that he did, particularly the last season. I think the general consensus of the Madrid fans is that finally this Bale saga is over because it's been brewing now the last 18 to 24 months. Very similar to the whole James Rodriguez thing as well. He was kind of hanging around at Madrid the last couple of years and everyone knew that he wasn't part of Zidane's plan. So it's a great relief to Bale and the fans themselves, I think. One, that they got Bale off their salary books and that, but also the fact that he can actually move on. And it's quite nice that he's chosen to go to Spurs because Spurs aren't a team that regularly win trophies or anything like that. So it clearly is something to do with the way he feels about the team that helped get him going. Were you going to say something, Stuart?
How much did he go for, Brian?
To Tottenham?
Yeah.
They reckon the whole deal as a whole, because Spurs are playing, this is another bit of business as well, of the wages, Madrid are paying 60%. We're only paying 40%. So it's rumoured we're paying around 225, 250 a week, but the deal in total is only costing, well, I say only, it's costing us 20 million for the year. And don't forget, he's got 1 year off. After this season's finished, he's got 1 year left at Madrid again. So if things go well, hopefully we can keep him for another maybe 2 years.
Yeah. It's crazy how much money they've lost on these signings like Bale and at the time the Galacticos. I mean, James went for 70 million pounds.
Yeah.
Bale, 85 million pounds, which was a world record back in 2013. And that's there's a total of 150 million pounds, and they've lost it all. I mean, they've not got any money for James Rodriguez. Apparently, they only got nothing, I think. And Bale is gone on loan, so it's crazy how much money they've lost on these two signings. But I mean, they probably recouped the Bale money after all those Champions League wins that Real had in the last.
Yeah. With all this lockdown stuff, though, they're going to have to be tightening the purse strings pretty soon because, personally speaking, I don't see fans coming into the stadiums anytime soon. So. It will be interesting to see how Madrid conduct business going forward. But not a part of the deal, but also at the same time, Spurs also signed left back Reguilon, who had been playing majority of his last season at least at Sevilla. Fast, young left back. Be honest, I haven't seen too much of him. As I mentioned to you guys before, what I have seen, he seems to go forward a lot, but not defend. So it will be interesting. D-Lord, have you seen much of Reguilon? And if you have, what do you think of him?
I've seen a bit of him, and I think I saw him in Europa League, and he was very impressive. Funny enough, we were linked, so I said, "Oh, let me check him out." You know when you watch YouTube clips.
Welcome
say,
to
okay,
Chelsea
cool,
videos.
You watch a few YouTube clips. Okay, yeah, he's decent, but then I got to watch him in the game, and he was blistering. And what I like about him, even though he's left-footed, he's equally comfortable on his right foot as well.
Yeah, no, as you say, Dennis, I've seen bits of him as well. He looks very, very quick. I mean, he's exactly the type of left back we need. The last time we had someone quick at left back was Danny Rose, and we all know what happened that season. Him and Kyle Walker tore up the league. But obviously, different manager, different tactics. It remains to be seen how Reguilon's going to be used. And the funny thing is as well how much Reguilon actually admires Gareth Bale. Even when he was playing in the youth teams and stuff, apparently Gareth Bale was his favourite player. So for him to actually play with Bale and now move with him to Tottenham, I'm sure for him is a big deal. And obviously only at 23 years old, we're hoping for he's hoping at least for a good career in the Premier League. So it remains to be seen what is expected of Reguilon as well as Bale. Bale is injured apparently for 4 weeks maximum. Yeah. He should be back in time for the Man United game in October. So I mean, I'm sure not only Spurs fans but everyone's excited to see what he can do, and we'll see what happens there. While we're on the subject of Spurs, it was a great weekend for them after a convincing 5-2 win over Southampton. Harry Kane 4 assists for Son in particular, specifically, as well as a goal for himself. Mourinho came out during the post-match interview with Son, claiming that Harry Kane should have been man of the match. I kind of agree as well. Dennis, what did you think of the Spurs performance, especially given how badly criticised Spurs were from the weekend before?
I think it was a much better performance. I also think that Mourinho took that to heart. With the way they performed at Everton. So they had something to prove, even though Southampton weren't really that great. They didn't really learn their lesson. It was literally like copy and paste.
They were good in the first half.
Yeah. They were good, but I think they kind of they once they got caught out, they started panicking, and then Spurs sensed that, and what kind of surprised me was they kept playing the high line, and that's what Son just kept. It was just so easy for him. Like I literally said, when he scored the hat trick, I said he's gonna get another one. He's literally. I said it. I said it in my group chat. I said he's going to get another one. I won't be surprised if he gets like 5 goals, and he got another one. So it's like you're making the same mistakes, and you're not rectifying it. You're not dropping back to say, okay, let's stem this. I get it. Everybody wants to play their way, and think, okay, let's just stick to our guns, and something will come off it. But when it's constantly not working, then you have to revise that plan, And then, but with Spurs, credit to Spurs. At the end of the day, it's a football match. You got to take your chances, and they did that, and they did that emphatically. I don't know, maybe it's because the whole situation with around the club that Bale's coming and Reguilon is coming, that everybody is.
I think that put a fire up their ass, to be honest. And now they're thinking we need to start performing, or else we're losing our place.
Gosh, exactly, people are fighting there for the place, so everybody just turned up. It gave them a very good boost. And like Son, I like to talk about Son because he is one of the most underrated players in the Premier League. This guy is consistent. He is left foot, right foot, equally as good.
Like Premier League, Champions League, World Cup.
Impressive. Like there's rarely a game you see Son and be like, oh, like he had a trash game. Rarely. Like he literally leaves it all on the pitch. Good finisher. Good dribbler and pacey as well. And I was saying, I think I tweeted during the match. I said Bale and Reguilon are actually coming into this side. If fit, it's a problem. It's a problem. Like you're looking personally, you're looking at a title challenge. Just those two.
Could be,
if they can be fit, immediately it goes from let's battle for top four to a title challenge because the team all of a sudden has improved massively. You got Matt Doherty on the right, and you got
And Ndombele in the
Gabriel on the
middle
left.
with
Yeah,
pure
in
work.
Ndombele, it seems that Mourinho has reinstalled faith in him. You know, he's important. And then you have the front. You have the front attack of Kane, Son, and Bale. And if that doesn't scare you as a defense, then I don't know what's wrong with you,
Yeah.
because I think Mourinho now has got this is what's going to give him that, we can go for a title challenge. I'm not saying they're going to win it. I'm not saying that. But
It's
if
a
you
huge
look at
boost.
the team, they have enough to make a challenge. They have enough to make a challenge because look at the people on the bench as well. We mentioned Bergwijn and Lucas Moura and Lamela. Lo Celso as well. Like, so they got a decent squad. Maybe they might need to add one or two more players, but attacking wise, they have no problem whatsoever.
I think just speaking on Southampton and the way they kind of capitulated in the second half, it was a bit naive of them. After the first time, they got caught with a high line that they didn't change the tactics. But one theory that I have, and I don't know what you guys think, I'll start with you, Stuart, is the reason why that game finished with 7 goals and why most of the Premier League is just the goals are just flying in. I think it's because of this fashion of gen pressing football. Given the fitness troubles of a lot of these players coming out of lockdown, as well as this pre-season that they've had, and with that style of football, I think all that's going to do in the first month or two, or maybe just 6 weeks even, is produce these high-scoring matches because of the fact that these teams are pressing so much. And I think Southampton were kind of guilty of that, as were Leeds and Liverpool when they played. Spurs when they played Everton, Doherty was blowing because he was constantly going up and down that right-hand side. Do you think that could be a reason why we're seeing so many goals so far in the league?
I think it might have to do with that. Also, the fact that we've got more quality in the league as well. Perhaps that's also a factor to consider. But it's funny that you say that because I was actually thinking about the same thing the other day when I was seeing I can't remember who I was seeing, but I saw that they were basically passing it from the back, and you had the opposition team just pressing quickly, doing a very Liverpool approach to the game, and it made me think. I like watching that because that is football, right? Not just hoofing the ball from the goal, from the goal kick, middle of the circle, and you rarely see that these days in a game. You rarely see a goalkeeper just hoofing it up to the midfield, just hoping that it lands on one of their players. But even then, I still think there's also a balance that where a team doesn't have to go necessarily, gung ho from the back. They can also play. They can keep the defenders a bit more close to their goal. Well, I think Southampton were very, very, extremely naive to play like that because every time you had Kane on the ball, you could just easily see a pass they could make that could easily split the defense in two.
Yep.
It would create an opportunity for Son to really run into that ball.
A quality pass was important though. If that was a bad pass, then obviously Son wouldn't get onto that. So
yeah,
I think they obviously Spurs played brilliantly to score 5 goals, but I think Southampton made it so easy for them to cut them open repeatedly. And as Dino said, I thought something could have had 5 or 6, but I think he was set up for 4 goals, right? But it's interesting you say that about the getting pressing because I've seen that much more now. It's not just the top 4 that do it.
It's everyone.
All the teams. And obviously the teams that aren't as good at the back, they're the ones that get exposed more. So perhaps you also have to factor in the kind of the games throughout the season. Have they been big? Are they being big teams against lower teams? If it's against lower teams don't have that quality to play from the back. And perhaps that's where you see, like Brighton losing to Chelsea last week, where they haven't got the quality at the back to really play it out and do it the same way that the big 4 do. But I think it's very, very curious to see that in the league nowadays, where you have every team just playing it from the back. It's good in a way, but it's also very naive for teams that aren't as good at the back to be doing that.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think, D-Lord? Why do you think we're seeing so many goals?
I just think it's the fact that I think this whole pandemic situation plays a part. That a lot of the teams haven't had a proper preseason as well. Everyone just come back from the break, and plus as well the quality of players that have come in as well. So those people are also exploiting, the fact that a lot of teams are not up to speed or up to scratch. So it's basically kind of like individual talents as well as well as tactics. But that kind of plays a huge part in it. And while we're seeing a lot of high scoring game, I mean, this weekend alone, I can't remember. There's more than a few players who were in double figures, like hat tricks and double figures. This weekend.
Who was the other? Oh, Calvert-Lewin. That was it.
Calvert-Lewin got a hat trick. Mane scored 2 goals. You got I think Mopai scored 2 goals. Can't remember off the top of my head who else played.
He's not yours anymore, Stuart. He's left Brentford a long time ago.
Watkins. I'm really apparently the decent game tonight, so that's got me in high spirits.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's what the fact that most teams they're not really up to speed. So a lot of teams are getting caught cold, So yeah, but hey, the viewers, we're loving it. This is why we love football. We want to see goals. So and we're getting it in abundance. So can't complain really.
No, yeah, that's true. I mean, obviously we all love football, so the more goals the better. Who gives a crap about defending, eh? I'll tell you who doesn't give a crap. Chelsea. Now after. Moving swiftly on to Chelsea's game against Liverpool. Chelsea lost 2-0 to Liverpool at Anfield. And it is in
home at Stamford Bridge.
Sorry, at Stamford Bridge. My apologies. Yeah. I know this has been a bit of a touchy subject for yourself, D-Lord. But you've got the Lurpak man in goal, the man with as much grip as an ice rink.
The hologram. We got a hologram.
The hologram. Is that what you call him? Bloody hell. New nickname every weekend. Obviously, we need to talk about Kepa and his mistake. Another error leading to a goal. I mean, it wasn't even a subtle error. I mean, it was just blatantly him. Like, what a big mistake. The funny thing is Zuma's reaction when that went in. It was like, oh, here we go, another one. What is going on at Chelsea? Now, Lampard, we spoke about this in the preview. Lampard, you said he's under pressure. I believe he is. Abramovich, Lepo doesn't change his spots. I think if Lampard is languishing below 8th place by the time we get to November, he's gone. That's my opinion. Obviously, I know you think differently. But Chelsea have spent nearly £200 million on some amazing talent. Goalkeeper, what's going on there?
Well, we have bought a goalkeeper. We just
not yet.
To conclude the deal. That has always been in the works. That was always going to happen this season. We're trying to go for top targets, and in the past we've ended up, we'll have like a plan A, plan B, plan C, and it ended up because of the style of negotiation where we just didn't want to pay, top price. We kind of went for like the plan C deals, the plan C, plan D deals, and that's what's kind of put us in a very precarious position where we've ended up with a whole squad of basic average players who really shouldn't even be putting on a Chelsea shirt. And we're kind of like trying to get rid of those players now. But yes, we have invested heavily. Like I said, people need to remember that we did have a transfer ban. And this is initially the 3rd window where we've just kind of like done all our shopping from the 3 windows. We just bought it all up into one. So which is why people say, oh yeah, we spend heavily. But at the same time, these players still need time to gel. And also we have, it's still not the first team we would actually like to put out. That, we still have Marcus Alonso playing. Lampard doesn't fancy him, but when Chilwell's fit, Chilwell's coming in. We've got Kepa in goal. Lampard doesn't fancy him either. He's been waiting for the Mendy deal. That seems to have been wrapped up. The centre backs, like I said before in the podcast, they're very quiet. They need a leader. Thiago's only just come, so he's getting his match fitness. He's only been training with the team for a few days now. So that's already the back line. We got Hakim Ziyech to come back from who definitely is going to be a starter. come back from injury. So
But
that's
did you need all of them players? I mean, I looked at the game yesterday, for example, and I saw Havertz, Kai Havertz playing as like a false nine.
Yeah.
You got Timo Werner who can play as a striker with, you presume, Havertz behind at least. And personally speaking, anyway, I'd feel like it'd be better for Chelsea to have spent the money they spent on Havertz on a top class goalkeeper, like say like an Oblak. Imagine Oblak signing in for Chelsea. That would be a major signing. And me personally, I don't know what you think, but for me, Mason Mount is a better player than Havertz, and I don't think he was a necessity at all for Chelsea.
You're bugging. But yeah, we'll get to that. But I know everyone keeps. Yeah, we mentioned Oblak. Like Chelsea, actually, we did want Oblak, but his wages, we have to remember, we have spent 71 million on a keeper. You know, it's not something that we can just say, yeah, let's just get rid of the keeper and just write it off and then buy another keeper for 130 mil, whatever his buyout clause is, and then bring him. And he's also on astronomical wages. So we can't just, it's very easy to say, oh, let's why don't we go for Oblak? But yeah, we'll get an Oblak, you know, and then we still have 71 keeper earning whatever he's earning. It doesn't make any financial sense. So the next best thing is to kind of get somebody that's good, well, better than Kepa, but at the end of the day, cheaper as well. So in terms of you saying, do we need those players? Yes, we needed those players because the players that we had, remember, I told you we've got a lot of average players in the team, you know, and we needed to replace players. Pedro's left, our wingers. Pedro is left.
But isn't Pedro average?
Williams left. Huh?
Isn't Pedro average?
Pedro average?
I'm asking you.
No, he ain't.
Who are the average players that you speak of at Chelsea then?
You're looking at people like Barkley, who's not being the same. You know, you got people like Jorginho, who's a system player. You know, like he's a system player that plays for like Sarri football. When Sarri was here, it worked in that system. Even Sarri said to people that listen, Jorginho is good in a 3. He's not good in a 2. And we've seen that. People used to question, oh, like, what do you mean? We've seen that. You know, he's a system player, so he immediately doesn't fit the team anymore for the style that Lampard is trying to play. And plus, we have injuries. Players like Pulisic has been injured. You know, so he's had to kind of like make adjustments to how, and also he's trying to he tried a different tactic approach for Klopp, because before we went gung ho with them and we kept on getting these. It was close. We would get like 2-1, 3-1. Then we beat them, I think 2-0 in the cup, and then obviously the final game where we lost 5-3. So he's taken a different approach now. He was trying a defensive approach, which was kind of working until we had a brain dead moment with Andreas Christensen. Don't know why he decided to swap shirts before halftime.
WWF.
WWE. Like really and truly, like Liverpool weren't really getting that much chances. You know, we were kind of stifling them and trying to just hit them on the counter attack. So I could kind of see the tactics of what he was trying to do. The defensive shape was much better. Like we've gotten a defensive coach now. I can't remember, Anthony Barry, I think that's his name, and I can kind of see already like we're in a much better defensive shape compared to last season where we were just open and all over the place. You know. But then individual errors. We lost the game on individual errors. Kepa as Kepa did what Kepa does, and
he does best
with a brain. Yeah, you know. So I personally think we could have got something out of that game yesterday. So I'm not really disappointed because I can kind of see where we're going to be and where we're heading. Plus, we haven't even had a preseason.
The only player that really catches my attention is Timo Werner. He looks really good. He looks really he looks quality. I mean,
very.
Watching him against Brighton last week, he was like so sharp. He was really rapid and looking for any opportunity that there was. And he looks class. He looks really good.
Of course, but people need to remember that he actually cut short his season with Leipzig to come to be with us, to integrate with the team immediately. So he was already training with the team. He was already working. You know, it was like his preseason.
It's ball control and all those kind of aspects that really.
Yeah. But
It looks
he's in tune. He's in tune because he's been there longer. Like people like saying, "Oh, Havertz just came. It's been a few days, and unfortunately, with the red card, he's had to come off. He's not the fittest in the team at the moment. You know, so you're gonna see these players in a few weeks. You're gonna see a much different performance. So I'm not really worried. I'm not really. I think we're gonna be in a great position this season.
Okay, fair enough. Stuart, just one more thing about Chelsea before we move on. If for some reason in a magical world, Liverpool and Man City end up in a relegation battle this season, do Chelsea have a goalkeeper good enough to win in the league?
No, I mean they don't have a good goalkeeper. No, he's already had. He was at fault for that goal against Brighton, a long range shot that he should have palmed away. So yeah, he just looks like he's completely lost out there in the team, and he looks like his confidence has completely been shot. So yeah, I just don't see how he can come back at the moment. And I mean, I don't know how they're gonna navigate having a £70 million goalkeeper on the bench. I mean, they'll probably have to loan him out and get his confidence back, and then when he comes back next season, as long as Chelsea's new goalkeeper has a good season, they'll probably be able to recover some of the money for.
That's the main problem, though, isn't it? It's the price. If he costs 15 million, 20 mil, I'll be like, oh, okay, just bench him. 71 million is a lot of money. Wasn't it a world record at the time?
Yeah, world record. Yeah,
so that's
a goalkeeper.
That's crazy. So you can understand from Chelsea's point of view why it's not just simple case of as you mentioned there, Dilo, just to get rid of him. But my word, does that price tag put pressure on him?
With the Kepa deal, I know that we've lost money. We have to take an L on that. Same way Real Madrid took the L on James Rodriguez and Gareth Bale, whatever. We have to take the L on that. We're not going to recruit as much money as we think, but we have to kind of do whatever we can to stem the flow of his price tag.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how long he's got left at Chelsea. Will he go this year? Will he go next? I reckon it's more likely he'll leave next year. I think he'll still be there at Chelsea for the rest of the season. But I mean, there's still two weeks left of the transfer window, so remains to be seen. And then as you mentioned, Morata there. I don't know if you guys heard, he's on the verge of sealing a deal with Juventus. So I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what they see in him, but fair enough. Was it the third time he's gone to Juventus?
Money laundering.
Right.
That's what's going on. I don't understand what is happening. The amount of teams he's been within the last few years is something.
It's a bit mad. It's kind of like the David Luiz to PSG, then back to Chelsea. Like that whole deal was a bit
shady deal.
So moving on from Chelsea, another subject that Dilo loves talking about. Man United lost at the weekend. A defeat to Crystal Palace. Craziness. Man United look so off form. It's unbelievable. We had Ollie on the show last week. He specifically mentioned Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as being the main problem for Man United. I'm beginning to think that might be the case. And it came to me the other day, if Solskjaer was to get fired from United, what other Premier League team will take him? I can't think of many, to be honest with you. Dilo, what's going on at Man United? What do you think the situation is over there?
Again, like everybody knows I might dislike for them, whatever, but we have to be realistic. They haven't also had a preseason. They've had a long time. They've had a long time off. Palace have had a game before. So Palace are more fitter than them, and I knew that Palace would probably give them a lot of trouble because they've already had more games. Palace have played more games than them. They've had a bit of a preseason. I think they played like 3 games preseason. Man United, I think they only played one game.
Yeah, I think it was one, wasn't it? Villa last weekend.
Yeah, Aston Villa, which they lost. So like they still. I personally don't think there should be a lot of panic. They brought in Van der Beek, who seems to be a very good player. I think once they get into the season, like a few games, I think they will kick on. But now I think people are just panicking too much, saying, oh, this and that. They're not fit. These players are not fit. Like, we're in a pandemic and nobody's had a decent preseason. So people need to remember that, and just stop being reactionary. Yes, they lost to Palace at home, but the players are not fit. By the time 4th week, 5th week, when they get into a rhythm of football, then we can start seeing, where they are.
Yeah.
But as you said, as Ollie said last week, yeah, is Ollie gonna social the man for the job? I don't think so. I don't think he's good enough. But at the same time, he's still got some great results for them last season. And when he first came, when they went on a long period, so he's kind of got. I think he's a people's manager. So he kind of puts an arm around the shoulder of the players, and they like him, and I think they play for him. So. Long term, is he the manager? I don't see it, but I think Man United will be all right.
Yeah. Sure. Do you think it's a problem that Man United have only signed Van der Beek? I mean, they were linked, obviously, they're still linked to Jadon Sancho. It's been pretty much, 2 months they've been linked to him. Dortmund are very clear. Well, they were very clear before, saying they wanted 120 million. Now, today, and I think 2 days ago, they've reiterated the fact that Jadon Sancho is going to stay. They were linked to Reguilon as well. Reguilon didn't sign for United, ended up signing for Spurs. Do you think them not being active in the transfer market compared to other teams in the Premier League is going to cost them this season?
I don't know. I mean, I think what really impressed me about United towards last season was Rashford and Greenford, especially Greenford. And I thought that this is going to be Greenford's year. So obviously they've lost the game against Paddock, and people are panicking, saying, "Oh, it's United's. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is crap." I mean, that might be true. He's not. I don't necessarily think he's a great manager, but I think the players were the ones that really got United through towards the end of last season. And I think as long as Greenford and Rashford shine this season,
Greenwood, isn't it?
Greenwood.
Yeah, no, Greenwood.
Sorry.
We're not talking about Brentford players here, man. But Brentford beat.
Maybe. But yeah, I think those players will be pivotal to United having a good season. And I think the midfield is going to be okay, and I think defensively, I think they've got the players. I think they've got the players to have a good season.
Yeah, because people need to remember, last season they spent how much, 200 and something million.
Yeah, he can't
bring in a lot of players that they brought in. They brought in Maguire. They brought in Wan-Bissaka. They brought in what's the guy and the Welsh kid.
David James. Daniel James. Sorry.
Daniel James.
Fernandez in January.
Alone.
I think Daniel James is a United player. I was impressed with him at Swansea in the Championship, but I don't think he has the quality to really shine at United.
Yeah, but you can kind of say he's a squad player. He's a squad player, but they still brought him in. They brought in Igalo on loan, who's a decent target man. And they brought in Bruno in the January transfer window, and they brought in Van der Beek. So they brought in players, So it's all about now. Again, goes back to the manager saying, how can he make them gel? Like they're looking at Jadon Sancho, and you have to, with the emergence of Mason Greenwood on that side, you think, is it really wise to kind of spend 120 million on one player, to come in and then stifle someone like a Mason Greenwood? Obviously, you don't want to rush him because he's only 18. So yeah, even if you bring him in, but when you speak to Man United fans, they complain about the defense a lot. Like they're not really happy with the defenders, even though they spent like 8 million on Maguire and they got Lindelof. They're not happy.
How much was Fernandez? Was it 80, 70 million?
80 million, yeah, 18 million for Maguire. Yeah.
No, for Fernandez, Bruno Fernandez.
Oh, Bruno Fernandez. Oh, I'm not too sure. I know it's up there. It's definitely not 80 million. But yeah, so they do have players. But they feel like they need to strengthen in defense. So then begs the question: would you rather spend 120 million on one player, or you use that 120 million to try and buy for areas of the team where you feel needs strengthening? Like again, you were saying they was looking for to try and get Sergio Reguilon. They couldn't get him because of the buyback clause. I think personally they should have done it.
Yeah, I don't think there's a problem. I mean, Madrid do that to all their players. I think that what's the right back called? Moroccan Hakimi. He's got a buyback clause. They never launched it on him, and he's a quality right back. So I think that's an excuse.
United, it's a pride thing. They feel, because we're Man United, we don't really want to buy this player, and then all of a sudden someone comes to take him off us. But at the end of the day, the way I look at it is, if you get this player in and he improves your team for a season and gets you a guaranteed top four, or even if you challenge for the Premier League and you win the Premier League, whatever. Even if Real Madrid buy him back, there's plenty of you're at that point where you can still source out a better replacement. I mean, we're talking about a left back here. There's going to be left backs popping up. Yeah, there's going to be players around. But if you can get this guy to kind of like get you at least secured for like top four or whatever, then what's the issue? But it's a pride thing. They don't really want to get a player in and then have that player snatched because Real Madrid say they want them back. That's the thing. So it's silly for me personally, but hey, that's them.
Yeah, that's Man United, all right. We'll see what happens to them this season. And just one last word then, Stuart, before we go. We're probably going to end up talking about this guy every week. James Rodriguez. Great performance again at the weekend. I saw a stat that came up on Match of the Day. Passing, assists, all that kind of stuff. But the one that caught my eye was sprinting. James Rodriguez, 0 sprints. Is he the new Carlos Valderrama? And what did you think of his performance at the weekend?
He's like it's a Colombian debate. Like, who's the best of all time? Valderrama, Asprilla, or James? For me, it's got to be James. I mean, James, it just looks so at ease in the Premier League. It's the way his passes. There was one pass that he made that I don't think any player in the world would have
was it when he feathered it into the box?
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
That was absolutely top draw. It was just that pass. It was a pass to the goal, the pre-assist for Richarlison.
Yeah, that was a good pass.
Into the box, and I think this guy is going to be. I think the signing of the season. I mean, I know we're only 2 matches in, but I think he left Real Madrid for zero money, and he's really contributed to Everton the way he has. It just shows that he still has that quality despite the age of 29. And to be honest, he will never gift him the pace. So even if he gets older, he's going to be 30, 31. I think he still has that vision, that intelligence to really add into a team. And I can't wait for him to start scoring more goals, free kicks, and that left foot of it is that left foot of his. I think is the best in Europe.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree. It's true. Yeah. It's a wand, mate. Have you not seen it?
No. Come on, like I know James Rodriguez is like I'm a big fan of him, and I'm a left-footed player myself, so I'm a fan of left-footed players. But to say the best,
not the best, one of the best. He said.
One of the best. Oh yeah, definitely.
Best in Europe.
You think the best left-footed player in Europe? Yeah. Well, I mean, why not?
His passing, his shots. I mean, I can't wait for him to actually have free kick duty. I mean, there was a free kick where Lucas Digne.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking.
And the thing is, they had Digne, they had Rodriguez, and they had who else was it? That was also
Sigurdsson
was in the pitch at that point.
I think Gomez was also fancying it. So there were 4 players vying for that spot. I think once James gets a crack at that free kick and scores, that's gonna be James, free kick duty from because I think he scored so many goals with that left foot for Real Madrid that it's just a matter of time before he actually cements that spot as their free kick taker.
What I liked about the performance in particular was, as I mentioned there, the fact that he barely did any running, and that was Zidane's main gripe with him. And if he can do what he did at the weekend without running, and what the 5-2 wasn't it? What was the score in the end?
5-2.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? And I mean, it just goes to show the quality that he has got, not just on the ball but off the ball as well. He was really, really good off the ball.
Yeah, I think that also ties in with Ancelotti knowing what really works for James.
Yeah.
But he knows what his qualities are, and tracking back is not his forte. So I think that's down to also the manager and the player relationship, and the fact that he knows how to get the best out of James Rodriguez is going to be pivotal to Everton having a successful season.
Yeah,
and I think they've got 2 more games. I think against Palace and I think Brighton, the next 2 games. If they get another 2 wins from there, I think Everton are going to be having that momentum to build from, where they can really go into a game against United or against Chelsea and play in a relaxed fashion. And I think that's going to be the start of the season is going to be so important for them to have a good season.
Yeah, no, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. Well, we've come to the end of the show. Thank you guys again for joining me. It's been a great podcast. Good to talk about Bale's return. So yeah, thank you so much. As always, you guys joining me. and you for listening or watching to the Soccer Sanchez podcast. As always, like, subscribe, comment, and join in the discussion. Visit the website, soccersanchez.com, and show your support. Thank you so much, guys. It's been lovely, as always. It's been emotional. Take care. Adios. And we'll see you guys next week. Take care. Bye-bye.
See you then. Bye.
Yeah.